Fear has a way of convincing us that it is larger than life itself. It slips into the quiet spaces of our minds, weaving illusions that make us doubt our worth, our courage, our very belonging in this vast unfolding story. But if you pause long enough, you'll notice that fear is not the enemy. It is a signal, a messenger, a shadow cast only because there is a brighter light waiting just beyond it. Life was never meant to be lived without trembling. It was meant to be lived despite it. The ache you feel in the presence of fear is the same ache that signals growth, the same pull that reminds you you're alive and moving toward something sacred. Perhaps freedom is not the absence of fear, but the decision to walk forward while it hums in the background. Because the truth is simple. Fear only defines you if you forget that you were born greater than it. Fear. It's the word that stops most people before they even begin. It creeps in quietly, not like a thunderstorm, but like a whisper. And if you don't pause to recognize it for what it is, you'll mistake that whisper for truth. Fear tells you don't try, don't risk, don't step forward. You're not ready. But here's the truth most people miss. Fear isn't the wall you think it is. It's not this impenetrable barrier keeping you from your dreams. Fear is a mirror. It's reflecting the exact edge where you're about to grow. Think about it. Every single time you've been on the cusp of something meaningful, a new job, a hard conversation, a bold decision, fear was sitting right there, wasn't it? Not to stop you, but to signal, pay attention. This matters. And yet, we misinterpret that signal as danger. We mistake the pounding heart, the sweaty palms, the shaky voice as proof that we're not capable, when in reality, it's proof that you're alive, engaged, and standing at the threshold of possibility. Fear shows up when you are moving toward the unknown, and the unknown is where all growth lives. You've never felt fear while doing the things that kept you small, safe, and comfortable. Fear doesn't knock on the door of your comfort zone. It waits at the edges, where life is inviting you into more. Here's where we get it wrong. We treat fear like a stop sign. We see it, we freeze, and we retreat back into what we know. But fear was never meant to stop you. Fear is a signal, like the rumble of thunder before rain. It doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you're stepping into sacred territory. It means you're touching the edges of your potential. And here's the fascinating part. Fear and excitement are almost identical in the body. The same rush of adrenaline, the same pounding heart. The only difference is the story you attach to it. If you call it fear, you shrink. If you call it excitement, you rise. That's the power of perspective. Fear is neutral. It's the meaning you give it that determines whether you retreat or move forward. Let me ask you something. Think about the moments you're most proud of in your life. The moments that defined you. Were they born out of comfort? Or were they born in the space where you were terrified, unsure, maybe even ready to quit? But you chose to move forward anyway. You already know the answer. It was fear that showed you those moments were worth it. So what if we stop seeing fear as an enemy? What if we start seeing it as a companion? A companion that shows up only when we're pushing into new territory. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of fear? Maybe the better question is, how can I walk with fear and still move forward? Because the truth is this. Fear is not here to defeat you. Fear is here to define the path worth walking. Every time it appears, it's pointing you towards something that matters, something that has the potential to expand your life. And if you can see it that way, if you can flip the script in your head, fear transforms from a prison guard into a guide. Here's what I want you to hold on to. Fear is not a verdict. It's not the universe telling you to stop. Fear is simply a signal. A signpost on the road of your life that says, this way, keep going. This is where you grow. And if you can remember that in the moments when your knees are shaking and your voice is trembling, you'll discover something powerful. You don't need to wait for fear to disappear. You just need to move with it. Because the presence of fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're standing in the exact spot where transformation begins. So the next time fear shows up, and it will, don't run, don't shrink, don't buy into the story it spins. Look it in the eye, thank it for showing you the way, and take the step forward anyway. Because fear isn't a stop sign. It's a signal. And the very fact that it's there means you're standing on the edge of something extraordinary. Fear is not here to hold you back. It's here to remind you that you're alive, standing at the edge of your becoming. We all cling to safety like it's a lifeline. So we convince ourselves that safety is the highest goal, that if we just stay in our lane, keep things predictable, and avoid risks, we'll be okay. But let me tell you something uncomfortable. Safety is the biggest illusion you've ever been sold. Think about it. How many people you know are living small lives because they're chasing a safe? They stay in jobs that drain them because it feels secure. They hold back from love because rejection feels unsafe. And yet what they call safety isn't safety at all. It's stagnation. It's the slow suffocation of your potential. Here's the paradox. The things you think are safe, routines, habits, comfort zones, they're actually the riskiest things of all because they rob you of growth. They keep you stuck in cycles that leave you waking up years later asking, what if I had tried? What if I had said yes? What if I had been braver? That's not safety. That's regret. Now let's be clear. I'm not saying throw yourself off a cliff. I'm not saying make reckless decisions. What I'm saying is this. Your brain is wired to exaggerate danger. It clings to comfort, not because comfort is where you thrive, but because comfort is familiar. Familiar feels safe, even if it's killing your spirit. But let's ask the real question. Is it actually safe to never risk? Is it really safe to silence your voice, to shrink from opportunities, to live a life that doesn't excite you? You already know the answer. Playing it safe is the fastest way to lose yourself. Life itself is not safe. The ground shifts, plans collapse, people change. You can cling to what's familiar, but nothing in this world is guaranteed. So if uncertainty is part of the deal no matter what, why not choose the uncertainty that expands you? Why not walk into the unknown where your potential waits? Every single person who has ever inspired you, whether it's an artist, an entrepreneur, a leader, or a parent who raised you with resilience, every one of them stepped outside the illusion of safety. They decided that growth was more valuable than comfort. And that's why they left a mark. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. You will feel fear whether you stay small or whether you leap. The fear of leaving your comfort zone and the fear of regret both exist. But only one of them creates a life worth living. Only one of them transforms fear into fuel. Ken, I want you to imagine yourself 5 years from now. One path. You chose safety. You stayed where you are. You didn't take the risk. You didn't step up. Your life looks the same as it does today, maybe even smaller. That gnawing feeling of a what if is louder now. The walls of your comfort zone have closed in tighter. Now imagine the other path. You took a risk. Maybe you failed at first. Maybe you stumbled. Maybe you heard the word unknowing more times than you liked. But you learned. You grew. You discovered strength you didn't even know you had. And even if it didn't go perfectly, you're alive. You're awake. You're becoming. Which of those two paths is actually safer? You see, safety doesn't exist in the way you think it does. The job, the routine, the comfort, it can disappear in an instant. But courage, courage is the only safety you'll ever need. Because courage means that no matter what happens, you trust yourself to handle it. So how do you break the illusion of safety? You stop waiting for certainty. You stop telling yourself the lie that someday the fear will vanish, that the timing will be perfect, that the risk will feel easy. That day never comes. What comes is the choice to stay in the cage of comfort or to walk out into the unknown and build wings on the way down. And here's the part I need you to hear. The unknown isn't your enemy. The unknown is your life waiting to happen. Every breakthrough, every opportunity, every transformation you're craving, it's all out there beyond the fence of safety. So stop bargaining with fear. Stop worshiping safety. Stop pretending that small is secure. Safety was never the point of your life. Growth is. And growth only happens when you choose to let go of the illusion and step into the truth. That uncertainty is not where you lose yourself. It's where you find yourself. The safest thing you can ever do is to bet on yourself, because safety isn't found in comfort. It's found in the courage to keep moving forward. Fear, we treat it like a monster hiding under the bed. We tiptoe around it, we shove it down, or we let it sit in the driver's seat and steer us away from everything that matters. But what if fear was never the enemy? What if fear was actually the messenger you've been ignoring your entire life? Think about it. Fear always shows up right before the moment something important is about to happen. You don't feel fear when you're brushing your teeth, right? You feel fear when you're about to take a risk, when you're stepping into the unknown, when you're standing on the edge of growth. Fear doesn't come to stop you. Fear comes to signal that you're standing at the doorway of something bigger than yourself. But here's the problem. Most of us misinterpret the message. We think fear means danger. We think fear means a turn back. We hear the pounding heart, the sweaty palms, the racing thoughts, and we mistake it for proof that something is wrong. But what if those signals are not alarms? What if they're invitations? Invitations to pay attention, to wake up, to lean into what matters most? Fear is simply your body preparing you for action. That's it. It's adrenaline pumping through your veins, sharpening your senses, turning up your energy. But because we've been conditioned to run from discomfort, we translate that energy as a stop sign. And when you treat fear like a stop sign, you never get to experience what it was trying to prepare you for. Let me ask you this. How many times has fear stopped you from doing something you actually wanted to do? Raising your hand in that meeting. Telling someone how you really feel. Trying something new even though you might fail. Fear wasn't saying, don't do it. Fear was saying, it matters. Pay attention. But instead of leaning in, you leaned back. And with every time you leaned back, fear grew louder. That's the thing. Fear doesn't disappear when you avoid it. It multiplies. It cements itself deeper into your life. But when you face it, when you step into the conversation with it, you realize it's not a monster at all. It's a messenger with a very simple job to remind you that you're alive and that the moment you're standing in is worth your courage. What if you started asking a different question when fear showed up? Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this fear? What if you asked, what is this fear trying to tell me? You'll find that fear often points directly to the thing you care about most. Fear of failure. That means the goal matters. Fear of rejection. That means connection matters. Fear of change. That means growth matters. Fear shines a light on your deepest values, and that makes it one of the most powerful guides you'll ever have. You don't break free from fear by waiting for it to vanish. You break free by reframing it, by choosing to see it not as a wall, but as a compass. The direction fear points is usually the very direction your life is inviting you to grow. I'll tell you something that might surprise you. The people you admire, the ones you think are fearless, they feel fear too. Every single one of them. The difference is they've stopped giving fear the wrong meaning. They stopped making fear a reason to retreat and started making it a reason to advance. That's why their lives look bold. That's why they inspire you. They didn't get rid of fear. They learned to walk with it. So the next time fear shows up, I want you to remember this. It's not there to paralyze you. It's there to prepare you. It's not there to keep you small. It's there to remind you that something bigger is on the line. It's not the enemy. It's a messenger. And the message is clear. This matters. Step forward. You don't silence fear by waiting. You silence fear by moving. And the beautiful irony is this. Once you start walking, the fear that felt unbearable shrinks into background noise. The energy that felt overwhelming transforms into momentum. And suddenly, the thing you thought would break you becomes the thing that builds you. Fear doesn't come to stop you. It comes to point you toward the places where your courage will shape the rest of your story. You can analyze it, you can journal about it, you can rehearse every scenario in your head, but none of that breaks its grip. Fear loosens only in the presence of action. Movement is the medicine. Think about it. How many times have you sat in your head, spinning stories, convincing yourself of every worst-case outcome? The longer you think, the bigger fear grows. But the moment you move, even if it's just a small step, everything shifts. Fear shrinks. Confidence starts to appear. And suddenly, what looked like an unclimbable mountain turns into a series of steps you can actually take. The problem is, we wait to feel ready. We wait to feel fearless. But that moment never comes. Fear doesn't evaporate on its own. It transforms only when you act alongside it. The body is wired this way. Action changes your state faster than thought ever can. The second you move, you create evidence that you're not powerless. And evidence is what rewires your brain. I'll give you an example. Imagine standing at the edge of a cold swimming pool. You pace, you dip a toe in, you overthink. And the longer you wait, the scarier the jump feels. But the second you leap in, your body adjusts almost instantly. The shock fades and you wonder why you spent so much time hesitating. That's exactly how fear works. Standing at the edge magnifies it. Diving in shrinks it. The secret isn't to eliminate fear. The secret is to act while fear is present, to let movement and fear coexist. Because here's what's fascinating. Fear and courage feel almost identical in the body. Both make your heart race. Both fill you with energy. The only difference is the meaning you attach to it and the choice you make in the moment. If you act, the energy becomes courage. If you retreat, it becomes fear. So here's the shift. Stop waiting to feel brave before you move. Move first, and bravery will meet you on the way. That's how you build a new relationship with fear. Every time you take action in the presence of fear, you teach yourself a new story. You create proof that fear is survivable, and with each small proof, your trust in yourself grows stronger. But here's the part nobody tells you. Your relationship with fear is not built on big leaps. It's built on small, consistent action. It's built on speaking up in that meeting when your voice is shaking. It's built on making that phone call, even though your hands are sweaty. It's built on saying yes to the opportunity you don't feel ready for. Each one of those little actions is like laying down a brick. And brick by brick, you construct a new identity. Someone who moves with fear, not someone who waits for it to leave. And once you build that identity, fear starts losing its power. Because the moment fear shows up, you recognize it for what it is, a signal that something matters. And instead of spiraling into overthinking, your body knows what to do. You move. And that action transforms fear from a barrier into fuel. Now, let's be real. This doesn't mean the fear disappears forever. It doesn't. It still shows up, but your response changes. Instead of letting it paralyze you, you learn to dance with it. You start to expect it.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment you expect it, it stops surprising you. And when it stops surprising you, it stops controlling you. Think about how powerful that is. Fear will always walk into the room. But once you master this relationship, it no longer gets the final vote. You do, that's freedom. That's what it means to break fear's hold. So the next time fear whispers, you can't. Don't argue with it. Don't sit around trying to convince yourself otherwise. Just move as... Take the step. Say the words. Fear can't survive long in the presence of action. And when you look back at the moments that changed your life, you'll see this truth clearly. It was never the moments when you waited for fear to vanish that shaped you. It was the moments you moved anyway, trembling but moving, scared but still stepping forward. That's the alchemy. That's how fear turns into freedom. You don't defeat fear by thinking your way through it. You dissolve its power every time you take action in its presence. Most people see fear as the villain of their story. They believe it shows up to stop them, to hold them back, to keep them small. And when you see fear through that lens, it makes sense that you'd want to resist it, fight it, push it away. But what if fear isn't here to destroy you? What if it's here to guide you? Think about this. Fear shows up in the exact same places where your potential lives. It doesn't appear when you're sitting on the couch scrolling. It doesn't appear when you're doing something you've already mastered. And it certainly doesn't appear when you're walking a path you've already walked 100 times. No, fear shows up in the spaces that matter. The places where you might grow, the places where you might expand. That means every time fear knocks on your door, it's also delivering a message. There's something here worth pursuing, but here's the problem. Most of us hear that knock and slam the door shut. We take the presence of fear as a warning that something's wrong. But what if fear is pointing you to exactly what's right? What if fear is not a red light, but a green one? I want you to consider this. Fear is feedback. It's not evidence that you're weak. It's evidence that you're standing at the edge of growth. And like any good teacher, it doesn't show up to make you comfortable. It shows up to stretch you, to challenge you, to expose the cracks in the story you've been telling yourself about who you are. And just like a teacher, fear's lessons don't always feel good. Sometimes they sting. Sometimes they frustrate you. But in hindsight, those lessons are the ones that change you the most. They're the ones that shape your resilience, your character, your ability to endure. Without fear as a teacher, you'd stay exactly where you are. You'd never step into the unknown. You'd never test your limits. You'd never find out what you're capable of. Let's make this real. Think about the first time you spoke in public or went on stage or pitched an idea that mattered. Your heart was pounding. Your stomach was in knots. Every cell in your body was screaming at you to run. That was fear showing up as your teacher. And its lesson was simple. This matters. Step into it. And if you walked through it, you didn't just gain experience, you gained confidence. You built new evidence about who you are. That's what fear teaches when you listen. Now, the key is to stop labeling fear as the enemy, because the language you use matters. If you call fear the enemy, your body will respond with resistance. But if you call fear your teacher, you'll start to lean in with curiosity. You'll start asking, what are you trying to show me? Where are you pointing me? What lesson is here for me right now? And when you make that shift, fear loses its power to paralyze you because suddenly you're not fighting it. You're learning from it. You're allowing it to be part of your growth, not a barrier to it. I know this sounds simple, but it's life-changing. Imagine what would happen if instead of avoiding every situation that scared you, you leaned in and asked, what if this fear is the very sign I'm on the right path? How different would your life look right now? How many doors would you have walked through that you kept yourself from opening? The truth is, fear is not trying to hurt you. It's trying to wake you up. It's pointing to the edges of your potential. It's showing you where the gold is buried. And if you're willing to reframe it, to see it as a teacher instead of an enemy, you'll stop running from it and start walking with it. Here's the beautiful paradox. The more you embrace fear as a teacher, the less it frightens you. Because you realize it's not there to stop your story, it's there to expand it. Every time fear arrives, it's carrying a gift, the chance to grow into the next version of yourself. So the next time fear shows up, don't slam the door. Open it. Invite it in. Sit with it. Ask it what it's here to teach you. And then listen, not with your head, but with your life. Yeah. Act on it. Learn from it. Allow it to stretch you. That's how you transform fear from the voice that holds you back into the voice that pulls you forward. Fear is not the enemy of your story. It's the teacher that hands you the map to your becoming. Here's the truth. Fear isn't going anywhere. You can learn to understand it. You can reframe it. You can even welcome it as a teacher, but it will always be there. And that's not a problem. The real question is, what do you do when it shows up? Do you freeze? Do you run? Or do you choose courage and step forward anyway? Courage is not the absence of fear. That's a myth we've been fed for far too long. Courage is what you choose in the presence of fear. It's what you decide to do when your stomach is tight, your hands are sweaty, your heart is pounding, and everything inside you is screaming, a stop. Courage is that whisper inside that says, "I go anyway." Now the mistake most people make is waiting until they feel ready. They think courage is something that magically appears once fear disappears. But that's not how it works. Courage is not a feeling. It's a decision. It's the choice you make in the middle of discomfort. It's action, not emotion. Think about it. Every meaningful step you've ever taken was wrapped in fear. Your first job interview, your first big move, your first real risk. Did you feel calm? No. You felt terrified, but you did it anyway. And because you did, your world expanded. That's courage. Here's the catch. Courage doesn't scream. It doesn't come with fireworks or a big drum roll. Courage is quiet. It's often just a single breath, a single step, a single yes in the middle of 1,000 reasons to say a no. And most people miss it because they think courage has to look big. But courage is almost always small. It's the choice to speak up when you'd rather stay silent. It's the decision to try when you might fail. It's the willingness to start when the ending isn't guaranteed. And here's what's even more powerful. Courage compounds. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. One small act of courage leads to another and another, until suddenly you're living a life that fear no longer dictates. It's like building a muscle. You don't start by lifting the heaviest weight in the gym. You start small and you build. Every single courageous choice is a rep. And over time, those reps transform you. But you can't get there if you keep waiting for the fear to disappear. It won't. That pounding heart, it's not a sign to stop. That shaky voice, it's not proof you're weak. Those are just signs you're alive, that you're stretching, that you're moving into new territory. Fear is the signal. Courage is the response. And here's something we forget. You can step out and still fall. You can try and still stumble. But the point of courage isn't to guarantee the outcome. It's to guarantee the growth. Every act of courage leaves you changed, no matter how it turns out. And that change, that's the real win. So let me ask you, who in your life right now is fear running the show? Where are you letting the what ifs, the doubts, the insecurities keep you on the sidelines? And what would happen if you chose courage instead? Not courage that eliminates fear, but courage that walks with it. Here's the most freeing truth of all. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being fearful and moving anyway. It's about realizing fear doesn't get to have the final say. You do. Imagine standing at the edge of your life looking out at everything you've ever wanted. Do you think fear will politely step aside and let you through? No, it will be there waiting. In the moment you do, something powerful happens. You prove to yourself that fear doesn't own you. And that proof is everything. Because once you know you can choose courage in the presence of fear, there's nothing left to hold you back. You don't need to eliminate fear. You just need to outchoose it one moment, one step, one breath at a time. So don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until the fear quiets down. Don't wait for certainty or perfection or permission. Choose courage now. Step forward while your heart is racing. Say yes while your knees are shaking. Take the leap while your doubts are loud. Because fear will always be there. So will courage. And the choice will always be yours. Fear may knock, but it's courage that decides whether you open the door. And when you do, life expands in ways you never imagined.